Thank you for making it tonight. Tonight is one of the most important talks we're ever going to do. Okay, this is about fermentation, but it's not really about fermentation. We have to change your perception. Now, is bacteria good or bad? Don't answer. What does the television tell you? Bad, evil, everything. And so we're always trying to fight bacteria, and none of that stuff really matters. After you, miss. Yeah, fighting bacteria is a losing war. Now, have you ever heard of multibiotic resistant staph?
Yeah.
Okay, this is a deadly staph that's created by us from using multiple, more and more powerful antibiotics and cleansers. And it's getting so powerful that it's actually killing humans where we can't stop it. These bugs are getting stronger and stronger. So guess what the solution is when they find these ultra powerful bugs inside of schools? Guess what they do?
Disinfect.
They disinfect. They do the same thing that caused it in the first place. So they're missing the big picture. There's pathogenic bacteria and there's good bacteria. Okay, there's bacteria that are bad, there's bacteria that are good. There's a heck of a lot more. So if you start to understand that we fight sick infections, sick bacterial infections, by adding healthy bacteria, not by killing the sick one. Now think of this. What this means is we don't fight disease, we promote health. Mother Teresa wouldn't attend an anti-war rally, she would attend only a pro-peace rally. I don't talk about against disease, I talk about pro-health. Okay, so what I want you to do is start to change your perception of bacteria by not thinking about what do we do to fight the bad, it's how do we promote the good. Okay, does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, now bacteria, they're all over the place. This is hard to see up in this corner, but this is from the movie Gladiator. I don't know if you've ever seen that, but he had a really nasty cut on his arm. Flies landed on it. Now, what do flies lay? Eggs. Now, what are the eggs called? Maggots, exactly. Now, did you know that maggots actually can only eat dead flesh? They're used to debris burn wounds. They poop out a natural antimicrobial, so they actually seal and heal the wound. Now, what did his buddy inside of the slave trade say? Don't brush those bugs off, they're healing you. Okay, isn't that cool? It's almost like we're supposed to live here. So, well, bacteria rock. Okay, they really do. And if you want to see a good movie, John Carter's pretty cool. I just saw it this weekend. But now this. So we use bacteria already, but you're not known. How many people had a good, healthy dose of bacteria today? What did you have?
I had some sauerkraut.
Sauerkraut, as long as it wasn't pasteurized, it was good. If it was pasteurized, it's dead. Okay, but if you had raw cheese, that's bacteria. If you had yogurt, okay, that's healthy from healthy animals. That's also healthy. But we're talking alcoholic beverages, vinegar. I mean, we use it all the time. Sourdough bread. So when you're looking at this, you've heard of staph. Is staph bad or good? It totally depends. And this is why we can't really trust antibiotic creams, antibiotic lotions, antibiotic disinfectants. The soap that we have here is non-antibacterial. It's just soap. Isn't that weird? I know. Well, you got to start to look at it because, I mean, there's a couple of different types. One of them is Staph epididymis. Now, this is a type of bug that's living on your skin that protects you from pathogenic staph. Now, when you put Neosporin or Polysporin or any of those stupid antibiotic creams, that wipes out the good as well as the bad. This is why we're seeing viral infections. So you don't ever, if you get a cut, want to put some antibiotic cream on it. It doesn't work that way. And in fact, we actually have a wonderful antimicrobial. What's this called again, hon? Coconut. It has over 6 antimicrobials in there. So if you put a little bit of coconut oil on there, it also has a disinfectant. And there's also aloe vera. There's multiple different antibiotic creams that don't create a competitive environment. Does that make more sense? Okay, so when we look at this, there's even bacteria on your eyelid and on the clear area of the eye. And this, again, protects you from certain viruses. So if you use antibacterial soap and it gets in your eye, does that kill the natural bacteria, leaving you predisposed to other infections? Yes or yes? Yeah, so what I want you, it's so hard to change flat earth thinking into understanding that we have a harmony with our world. Okay, now when we look at this, we got bacteria inside of our stomach. This is normal for at least half of the world's population. Now, is it normal for all some people say yes. And what's neat about this, it's called helical pylorus. They say it can actually protect against other pathogenic bacteria. When you look at this one, if you look in the natural, it's called Moraxia catarrhalis. Now, it's involved, it's normally found in kids, so yes, you kids probably have it, okay, in the upper respiratory tract. However, it's also the cause of meningitis, heart problems, endocarditis. We're talking pneumonia. So how can it be normal in one person and abnormal in another? Do you want to know why? It has to do with the immune system. It's not the bacteria. It's only the immune system. See, it's normal in everyone. So what we have to do is promote the health of the body, not the wiping out of the bacteria. See, for 70 years we've been promoting that bacteria are bad, keep killing it, keep killing it, keep killing it, and they adapt. They've adapted already now to where they're going to wipe out our species if we're not careful. This one here, E. coli, you can say that it's responsible for most hospital infections. It's also responsible for keeping you alive. When it's in your colon, it breaks down nutrients and vitamins. It actually helps protect you. So why does it cause most hospital infections? What happens to your immune system when you're in a hospital? Do they do a lot of things to promote your immune system? No, they weaken the immune system. Okay, that's why a hospital is one of the most dangerous places around. Tetanus. Now, how many people get a tetanus shot? Not when you learn it. Okay, I mean, I had a patient, he's a Hare Krishna priest, and he's washing his dishes, and he cuts himself with a knife while he's washing the dishes. And he goes to the hospital, and they want to give him a tetanus shot. Now, tetanus is a disease of sick farm animals, and if it's exposed to air, it kills that bug almost instantly. Plus, if you actually get infected with tetanus, this means you got a sick farm animal that urinated on the ground, you shuffle along in the dirt, something pokes you in there, if you pour hydrogen peroxide on it, it kills it instantly. So it's a very fragile bug. Now, if he's washing his hands, soapy water, and he cuts himself with a knife, he's a Hare Krishna priest. He's not even dealing with animals, okay? Do you think he's at risk at all of getting tetanus? No. And then when you know that the vaccine is associated with multiple sclerosis, lupus, autoimmune disorders, it has neurotoxins in there. So, see, what's the risk, what's the benefit? So we have to start getting a relationship with bacteria. Now this is me when I was little.
Is it really?
No. No, I was never into sports. Okay, so 80% of your immune system's in your gut. 80% of your immune system. This means your resistance to disease. This means your resistance to cancer. This means how your body reproduces itself, okay? This means all your defense mechanisms, 80% of it is in your gut, okay? So does that make sense? That you take care of your gut? What if you've had decreased, let's say you've had neurotoxins. Would anyone purposely take a neurotoxin in their body? Have you heard of a flu shot? Neurotoxin, it actually wipes out the enzymes of the intestinal tract. That's why Janine, the enzyme expert, is here. Okay, we talked about enzymes 2 weeks ago. We talked about enzymes last week. We're going to talk about enzymes today. And then also, when you look at this, 80% of your immune system's in your gut. 80%. So would you ever purposely take, say Gatorade? It has no neurotoxins. Or V8, no neurotoxins. We know that these things are toxic and they kill bacteria. What about chlorinated water? Would you ever take chlorinated water? Thank you so much. She just gave me a cabbage leaf. There, what religion? No, just kidding. So when you look at this, it all has to do with healthy gut bacteria. Okay, does that make sense? And the things that kill gut bacteria lead to cancer. It leads to multiple sclerosis, leads to autoimmune disorders, leads to virtually every disease that you can have, okay, if you have unhealthy bacteria. And then there's also the gut brain. When we talked about depression, we realized that 90% of the body's serotonin is produced in the gut. Now in normal ratios, normal healthy gut ratios should have 85% good bacteria, 15% bad. Okay, and that's normal. So the good guys always outwin. So now that your brain is starting to slowly shift over to bacteria being good, do you want to kill the bad or add the good? Add the good, because you can't kill the bad. You can't kill it. It's like Arnold Schwarzenegger. He just keeps coming back. You just need more guys to beat him up. Okay. So we got to look at this. This guy here, is he eating healthy enzymes? No. Is he getting any healthy bacteria from that? No, and we realize that the French fries actually have a neurotoxin in it. We know the burger that he's eating actually has antibiotics in there, which are poisonous mold, which are going to kill the normal flora inside of his gut. Now, since he's eating this, of course, his mom probably protects him by giving him Diet Coke. That's a joke, okay. You know, but if you know that Diet Coke breaks down into aspartame, which is again neurotoxin, and it kills the normal flora in his gut. So they're wiping out his only protection. So he's going to have trouble in school, his brain's not going to work correctly, and have trouble with his immune system. He won't be able to break down nutrients, so he's going to store it. So then he has obesity problem. And then this is the fate of 14% of Americans' kids because they're in special needs schools. So we need to stop this. The FDA, finally, they've been dragging their feet for about 40 years. Finally, they're saying that maybe we should slow down on antibiotics in agriculture. Okay, finally. You know, and which is crazy because 70% of all antibiotics are used in agriculture. So does this mean when you go get commercially produced meats that you're eating antibiotics?
Yeah.
So this means every time you eat an animal product that's commercially produced, it's actually poisonous to your gut flora. Your gut flora is 80% of your immune system or 80%?
80% of your immune system.
It is. So can you see this? Can you see why our population is getting sicker and sicker? Because we're wiping out our normal flora. Now when we look at this, Alexander Fleming, when he discovered that bread mold would actually kill some bacteria, in 1946, 88% of staph infections were killed by it. Okay, and we're talking just 4 years later, it went down to 61% of staph infections. So are bacteria adapting in the 50s? Oh, thank you so much. Oh my gosh. I'm going to put him up here. Maybe he wanted a better seat. Okay, so there, he was probably a little hard of hearing. Okay, so then you look at this, in 1982 it's down to 10%. So I want you to burn it home. If anyone says, what do I do for a bacterial infection? You don't say you kill the bacteria, you add good. Okay, does that make more sense? You add good bacteria. You cannot kill the bad. You cannot kill the bad. You got to add the good. The American Medical Association, antibacterial soaps actually cause more problems. When you look at this, Annals of Internal Medicine, they say antibacterial soaps don't work. So when you look at when we do an entire talk on soaps, the Purell, that little hand cleaner thing, that leads to secondary infection. I mean, it's absolutely foolish to use that stuff. We had a patient in here in a wheelchair, and the nurse says, here, put this on. And I said, wait a second, if I use that Purell, I'm going to create a secondary infection. I'm going to create antibiotic-resistant bacteria and flesh-eating viruses, and then you want me to put this on and then touch your patient? I said, how about doing something that bacteria can't resist, like colloidal silver or hydrogen peroxide? And then that would be appropriate. Does that make more sense instead of using a poisonous chemical? How many people use chlorinated water? I know. Oh, thank you very much. I'm going to put her up here too. That's okay. That she's going to be a future speaker, so it's good that she's here. Now, when you look at this, chlorinated water, we're all been programmed to think that it's safe. And it's so safe, in fact, that we can actually bind chlorine to a sugar molecule and call it Splenda. Okay, I know, I'm just kidding. But the chlorine molecule breaks off, causes tumor damage and neurotoxins. But when we look at this, chlorinated water, it's supposed to kill bacteria in the water. It also binds to organic matter, creating a thing called CBPs. And this is completely neurotoxic, causing miscarriages, birth defects. And again, it destroys the normal gut flora. So this means chlorinated water destroys part of your immune system. What part of your immune system is your gut? 80%. I want to drive this point home because, by gosh, if you say, well, I don't like sauerkraut, we've got some other choices here. Imperial College London, this one just came out. They're talking about miscarriages, stillbirths, birth defects, okay, and they're just checking pregnant women. What do you think if it's going to do that to a pregnant woman? And this is just chlorinated water? What's it going to do to some normal, healthy human being? And why does it do it? Because it wipes out the normal gut. Okay, then you look at this. Colorado Springs. These guys, 30 million gallons of sewage a day, and they treat it with light. Doesn't that sound like 2012 stuff? We have a laser beam, we're going to blast this. And it is. Ultraviolet light kills bacteria, kills E. coli, kills all the pathogens. And it's super fast. And I love the comment. It was a $13 million for the ultraviolet light that the officials say. It was well worth the cost because it's quicker, more environmentally friendly, and safer for the employees. Wow. Okay, so we need to start voting and changing our laws, because if we have a system that's promoting chlorinated of the water and it's wiping out the normal gut flora and it's causing more disease, and then we have the pink ribbons where we're going to start funding money for research so we can have more chemotherapy, let's take a couple of steps back and just work on the normal immune system. Now, fermented history. The history of preserving foods has been around for thousands of years. Okay, granted, it probably started with beer or wine. Probably, I'm not opposed to that. Okay, but also when you look at this, and we're talking thousands of years before Christ, this is called culturing or fermenting vegetables. Now, I'm going to actually show you how to cut up a cabbage and cut it up. But what we're doing is, right here, this is living salsa. And this is just garlic, jicama. What's in here?
Tomatoes, cilantro, habanero.
And habanero. So that's good and spicy.
And onion.
And this one here, well, I made some and Janine made some.
Really gonna teach us how to make it?
Yeah, that's why you're here.
Oh.
But first I had to show you why.
Yeah.
I know. Okay, so when you look at this is going to be probably cabbage. Is it?
I think.
Okay. This is purple cabbage. This is actually yams.
Do we get to taste?
So, in a moment. Gosh, you're so aggressive.
Yeah,
Okay. This is cabbage or cauliflower and onions and cabbage. This one's celery. This one's more cabbage. Okay, and so when you're looking at it, you can ferment any kind of vegetable. I mean, we're living in Southern California. My garden is going to explode in the next couple of months. I'm going to have more zucchini than I know what to do with. So what I'm going to do with it? I'm going to ferment it because it'll stay fresh for months. And now, what we're probably going to do, because this one doesn't taste really good by itself, but it tastes really good mixed. When we open this, there's a fermenting process inside. And all you do, and I'm going to show you how to actually do it, it's just pack vegetables, and there's actually moisture inside of the vegetables. You can add a little bit of spring water, and you seal the top, and you just sit it on the counter for between a week to 2 weeks. It's really that simple. There's no refrigeration. There's no weird probiotics you got to add to it. I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. But while I'm doing it...
Can I add?
Yes.
The vegetables themselves have bacteria on it, and it's good bacteria. And what that does is you pack it tightly in. You want to get rid of all the air. Make sure that if there's not enough liquid, that you add liquid to it so that it's all submerged under the water. And that eats up the sugar, and that's the fermentation process. So it's really good for you because it's fermented, but also it doesn't have sugar. And everyone has way too much sugar in their diet. So that's another way, a health benefit of this.
It's fantastic. Hold on, I'm excited too. So it also, you got to figure B vitamins, they're produced as a byproduct of bacteria. So this is loaded with B vitamins, niacin, riboflavin. So this is good for the brain, it's good for the immune system. It's actually adding healthy bacteria into your gut. And since you're being exposed to chlorinated water and all the other toxins in the environment, every day you've got to add bacteria, every day. And when you look at this, loaded with free antioxidants. Oh gosh, all of this stuff. Okay, now here, 8 reasons, and this is on your handout, to eat fermented foods. Now I'm going to show you how to make it. When you open these, And I've got one that's going to be our sink. When you open these, you may hear some popping. Now this one I just had a little bit last night, which was really good, so that one's not going to explode.
What is that, carrot?
That one's yams. This one here, it's under a bit of pressure. I don't know if you heard that, but it's also foaming. Okay, and this is the fermentation process inside here. Now I'm going to recommend a little bit of each one of these. Ah, that's living food. Maybe some of the celery. Oh, the celery was just fantastic. Now Janine's going to put a little bit inside each cup. I'd recommend 2 or 3 of them at least, because they're just darn good.
Dr. Bergman, I have
Yes, yes.
So when you say fermented, what's the difference between them preserving it through the fermentation process and when we buy something that's jarred in the store, like a thick
That's one of the differences, okay? First off, because I'm going to describe why. Because right now, these have not been pasteurized. When I say living bacteria, there is living bacteria on here. And that's what you want. You want to get more living bacteria in here. Now, this one here, I don't know if you can see, but the lid on the jar is bent. The pressure inside is starting to expand out. It's under that much pressure. And this means that the fermentation process is going on. Now, if we were running a store, you would have to put this in a machine that would stop the fermentation process. Hun, what are those machines that stop the fermentation processes?
Oh, I think they're called refrigerators.
Refrigerators, that's it. I know, isn't that cool? Okay, you put it in about 38 degrees, or about whatever temperature refrigerator is, and it stops the fermentation process or slows it down. So once it gets all spicy and delicious and good, then you just put it in the fridge and it stays there for weeks to months. Now, like Janine says, we want to stop any air from getting it, because air will create mold. And I'm going to show you how to do that in a second. However, when you're doing, if there is mold on it, you just throw the mold away and eat the stuff underneath. Now, so you want it with no air inside of it. But now this, I'm going to show you how to make, this is called a cabbage. Oh, the 2 kids were just lived. I was showing them how to make it. So what you want to do, you want to remove a couple of the leaves first. And you're going to use these leaves. Well, I gave it to a couple of kids to play with. You're going to use these leaves to seal the top. Now, I don't know if you've ever used a cabbage before. How many people have ever made their own homemade sauerkraut? So you want to cut out the bottom, and the leaves are very tightly around. Now this is not chlorinated water, this is filtered water, and you just rinse the cabbage. Then you want to save some of the leaves because they're going to go on top. Now my favorite thing to use is this. Now you can have a fancy food processor, or you can have a mandolin. That's what this is. Now a mandolin is just something to increase the surface area. You can use just a regular old knife. You can use whatever your little heart desires. I like using a mandolin, okay, only because it just increases the surface area.
Be very careful with that, because that blade is really, really sharp.
Okay.
No, I'm telling you, because
Oh.
a lot
Yeah,
of
the
people...
mandolin is really
Right.
Yeah, I'm a chiropractor, so I use my hands, so I got to be careful.
Yeah, they do come with protectors.
Yeah, and then this is actually the protector.
We're all safe.
I know, I guess my hands are important. So then, when you start cutting it up, if you have any leftovers, it's just slicing it small, just to get the surface area. That's the only reason you're cutting it up.
Is that a good knife? And if it is, where'd you get it?
This is my favorite knife.
Is that what you call ceramic dye?
Yeah.
Where do you get it?
This one, I got at the swap meet. And then I was really nice. I got my sweetheart one from Harbor Freight Tools, which is really cheap. Yeah,
Did you
but
get it online, you mean?
no, you can get it from any kind of store. But I like, what's the advantage of the ceramic knives?
The ceramic knives don't oxidize the vegetables as much when you cut them. So when you cut a vegetable and it gets kind of like dried out at the end, the ceramic knife doesn't do that as much. It kind of preserves the end a little bit more.
Yeah, so now,
Now, can I tell a little bit about this bacteria?
please.
Okay, so your body has actually more bacteria than cells in your body. So that's an incredible amount of bacteria. And the good bacteria also helps to finish out the digestive process. And you need that good bacteria in order to fully digest the food that you have in your, that's going through your intestines. So it's really important that you can make sure that the bacteria that you have in your body is good bacteria, healthy, and strong. So any kind of antibiotics, anything like that is going to wipe out the good and the bad. So you want to really be careful that you don't use antibiotics. If for some reason you used antibiotics, you need to make sure that you remedy that. Take probiotics, eat a lot of fermented foods, because this is what this has, probiotics in it. And just do whatever you can to replenish your gut flora.
I have another question. If the vegetables are grown in like an environment where we see it now, not organic, but in a bad environment, won't that have a bad bacteria in it when you're fermenting it? What happens when you buy vegetables that
It's got to be organic.
has to?
Yeah, has to be.
It has to be organic for a lot of reasons. It's still going to have some good bacteria on it, but it's been sprayed and it's got pesticides. So even if you've got good bacteria on it, you're going to be filling your body with pesticides and all sorts of things that are going to counteract the good bacteria.
So you only want to eat the organic.
Only organic. Yeah, your health is worth it. Plus, too, I mean, this does have bacteria on it, and it's good and healthy. Now,
I think that's not bad bacteria.
because there's more in the normal, natural, healthy world environment, the pathogenic bacteria are pretty weak. In order to get the pathogenic bacteria, the bacteria that do damage, stronger, you have to kill the good bacteria, because there's more good than bad out there. So it's really hard to create bad bacteria. It really is.
It also goes back to the soil that it's grown in. When you have good, rich soil, that's a lot of good bacteria that's breaking down the dirt and providing all the nutrients.
You know what? Yeah, now, just for fun, and this, I want you to get creative. When you're creating fermented foods, like Janine put some habaneros in there. You know, she likes spice. I used a bunch of yams because we have a farmer that comes here and he gave us a couple of crates of yams. So I wanted to use them up. So just anything, any kind of vegetable you can use as long as it's organic.
Are there any vegetables that they can't ferment?
Anything you can eat.
And it's better to not use fruits. Fruits tend to get mushy and they don't have a really good consistency like the fermented vegetables.
Okay, now you can do two things on this. Normally you would just salt it for flavor. Okay, you don't need salt for preserving or any of that stuff. Or you put a little salt on it and let it sit for a couple of hours so the salt will actually draw the water out, because you do need fluid in it. Or you can be impatient, okay, like I am, because I normally don't have a lot of time to do it. So this is an entire head of cabbage and 1 bell pepper. So what do you think? Teaspoon of salt, maybe a little bit more, a little bit less? A pinch? Well, I'm going to do...
I use 3 teaspoons per quart.
Huh?
For vegetables. 3 teaspoons.
3 teaspoons? Okay, so this one's about a quart. I like a little salt, but not a whole bunch. So what I'm going to do, I put a little salt in here.
Looks like a pint.
This is a pint glass. I know, hold on. Now I'm going to make salt water. Only because I can diffuse it in there, the solid, or I can just mix it up with salt water and just spread it around. So this, you're going to see there's some, so you're eating a variety. Some of it's spicy, some of it's not. Okay, oh, did you give them the habanero? Oh, okay. Yeah, there's some stuff in there that's really good, because I like it spicy. Okay, now I'm diffusing some salt water in here, so to make it really easy, just because I think it's a better idea. Pour it in there.
Oh, that's great.
I know. Then you mix it up, because you want it diffused out.
Do you let it sit like that?
You could let it sit, but again, I'm not that patient. Okay? It's okay? I like it. I got to tell you that. It's because it's living food. Then you take a jar.
That looks like a quart jar.
This is a quart jar. And you fill it, okay, with the vegetables. Now remember, you want to get rid of all of the air in here. If you have hands like Janine's, her hand can fit inside of the quart jar. Mine won't. So I have this. And you just pack it down.
Where'd you get that little stuff?
This thing, I stole it from one of my juicers. Yeah, kinda. A bat would do. Yeah, one of those little free bats they give at the Dodger stadiums on bat night. I think they stopped bat nights. Okay.
Would it be better to chop it fine?
Yeah, if you're more patient, because just chopping it, it increases the surface area. Now I'm packing it really, really hard because I want it completely filled. And what you want to do is you want to have the fluid or the moisture inside of there come up to the surface.
So you only use about a teaspoon per quart of, a teaspoon of salt per quart of water?
No, to use salt to taste. Now, since you're using sea salt, you can use a lot if you want. You can use a little. Sea salt doesn't raise blood pressure. It doesn't do any of that. Now, I'm pushing this down, and I don't know if you can see, but there's fluid that goes all the way up to the top. Okay, so now none of the vegetables are going to be exposed. Then you take these beautiful leaves that you saved in the start, and you fold them up and you push it down on top. So that this way, you can even see the fluid coming up even more.
Why do you have to put that on top?
Because what you don't want any of the vegetables exposed to air. Because air can create mold. Now, if it gets moldy, guess what you do?
Just throw it away.
You cut off the mold.
The water, you put it up until it's completely covered the vegetables.
And how often do you eat this? Any time? All day?
You can eat it for breakfast, you know. I mean,
Lunch and dinner.
yeah, you got to figure 80% of your gut has to be healthy bacteria. And you can make it spicy, you can make it not spicy, you can make it salty, not salty. Now this one here, this is it. This is literally ready. So now I put it up on a shelf, okay, not cold, and over the next week or so, maybe a week, 10 days, depending on how hot it is. We're now in springtime, so it may take a little bit longer. But, you know, we open it up, try it. If it doesn't taste good or fermenty or it's not spicy enough or not fizzy enough or not soft enough, then you put the lid back on and put it on the counter.
But that's amazing that it tastes that good without you
Nothing. There's no vinegar. There's nothing necessary. And in fact, what we have, I have. Can I borrow that? Oh, I actually have a present for everybody here. I have exotic home fermenting kits. Okay. It's empty jars. Okay, now in here there's actually a coupon, okay, that you can give to a friend so they can get their nervous system checked. But there's also our website called Ask Dr. John Bergman and Bergman Chiropractic, and all of our videos are placed on the Ask Dr. John site. So you go in there, you click it, and if you click last week, you actually see a pretty face, Janine's, and if you click the week before, you see her face there too. So you just click on there and you get our videos.
One other thing, for fermenting foods, you can ferment coconut water.
That's why I have the 6. Yeah.
What's the advantage?
This tastes really good. And some people, like me, I really prefer the fermented coconut water.
What
So-
a strong lady.
All you do,
Yeah, don't make her upset.
that's right.
How do we get her upset?
Yeah. A woman that wields a knife like that, you keep good relations.
Oh, I see.
So, you pour the coconut water in your jar, you put the lid on, and you set it on your counter, and you forget about it for a few days. And then it gets a little bit milky, and you'll see at the bottom sometimes there's some white, and that is the good bacteria that's growing. And that also, when you open it up, it is a little fizzy, and you know it's ready at that point in time, and you just drink it.
Wait, it can't be that easy. You just open the coconut and put it in there, then put it on the counter?
Yes,
I know. It's like too simple. All we did was chop the vegetables, put salt on it, and pack it. And let it wait a week.
What was that?
It's really that simple.
Bacteria in
Okay.
coconut water?
There is. There is just enough.
When you have your coconut meat, you don't want to just throw this away. This is really good. So, no, you don't ferment this. You can do a number of things with it. One thing I like to do is I make coconut ceviche. So, I scoop out the coconut meat, I cut it all up, and that's like your fish. Then you put in the tomato and the cilantro and your jalapeno and some lime juice, and you let it sit in the refrigerator overnight, and it's really good. It tastes like ceviche. Or you can use the coconut meat and you can make a pudding out of it. So you put that in your K-Tech blender that we had here last week, and you put the coconut meat in there. You put in raw cacao, you put in other little things. You're probably going to want a little bit of liquid to make it a little bit more creamy, and you blend it up and you've got some pudding. So there's a lot of things that you can do with the coconut meat. It's very, very valuable, so you never want to throw this out. You want to make sure you use it.
How do I get the recipe for the president's ceviche?
Replay the tape. No, it's really good. It's use just any kind of ceviche recipe except where it says fish.
Fish any old time.
Yeah, use coconut instead of fish, and it's incredible. You could also use it, not just the ceviche, but the fish rolls.
Oh, one second. That's another thing. We'll make like sushi. You have your little piece of nori, and you put whatever you want in there. Sliced cucumber, bell pepper. I always put a little bit of jalapeno or habanero, something spicy in there. And you use the coconut meat. You slice that up. You put that in there, and that's like your fish for the sushi. You roll it all up. You slice it up, and it's delicious.
Okay, now this, there's not enough fluid in here because I didn't wait. I was impatient. If I waited till tomorrow, there'd be fluid up here and I could pack it down. But I'm just going to put a little fresh spring water on there to cover the veggies. and then pack it down a little, just so long as there's no air there. There's no air there, it's totally hunky-dory.
So where is the water level now? All the way on the edge?
Almost.
What was that?
What has that jalapeno
no.
in it?
When you put your coconut water in the jar, you put the lid on really tight. It doesn't mold or anything. You don't have to worry about that. One of the things that I like to do with it is I carry a probiotic powder, and I mix the probiotic powder in with the coconut kefir, and it tastes like a milkshake. It tastes really good.
So now the water is just barely above the veggies. Then you take your leaf and you fold it up and shove it in there. And when you shove it in there, you'll see the water come up actually over it. Now the vegetables are going to create more water. So it's eventually going to fill up everything. And then here's the complicated step. With the lid on, you set it down and you walk away.
Actually, there's one more step.
What?
He forgot.
What?
Especially with the cabbage, the water gets really red, like you can see, and it's purple and it stains. So before you put it on the
That's
counter,
right. That's right.
you want to put it like on a tray, like a cookie sheet or something, because sometimes when it's fermenting, the liquid will seep out.
It will. It'll actually leak out the lid. That's awesome. Yeah, because you'll find it on the counter and you'll go, oh my goodness. But it's going to build up so much pressure in there because the bacteria need to live. This is 80% of your immune system. This is replenishing the normal flora. I mean, you can see it in there. It just strengthens every aspect of your life. Okay. Okay.
Different vegetables.
If you want to play with them, you can. So when you look at this, to preserve them, you don't want to go through all of this trouble, which, what did it take me to chop up a bell pepper and a cabbage? About, 5 minutes maybe? Okay. You don't want to go all this trouble of fermenting food and then stick it in a plastic dish and microwave it. Okay, that's not really a good idea. So you can't microwave anything that you're going to eat. You don't want to heat it up more than 118 degrees. And if you're really efficient, you're probably going to have a thermometer. If not, if you can touch it and it's warm but not too hot, that's around 115, 118 degrees. So you can touch it, you'd heat it up slowly, make it taste better, and it's fantastically good. Raw dairy.
Why would you want to heat any of it?
I got to tell you, when you're making this with eggs, I'll heat up a couple of the eggs from organic, natural farms, fry them up a little bit, and then I turn off the heat in the pan, and then I'll toss a little sauerkraut in there. And it heats it up nice. It still keeps the bacteria alive, and anytime you heat up food, it tastes better because you excite the molecules and it hits the nose better. Raw dairy, loaded with healthy bacteria. This is why raw is good. Okay, if you have, let's say, a history of colon problems, you can't eat raw dairy. You can't eat gluten. You can't eat wheat or grains. So you have to make sure that you have a healthy gut, then you can have it. And soak grains. That's one of the best things.
If you have a compromised gut, you can't have gluten and you can't have dairy products.
Speak up.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so anytime you have a compromised gut, you've got to heal that thing first and cut out all grains. It doesn't matter where the grains are from, just completely cut out all grains so that your gut can heal. And then eat foods like this, because this is very nourishing. It's very high in vitamins and minerals, plus it's got the good bacteria, which heals the gut flora.
Yeah, because it not only preserves the healthy nutrients, it increases them. Yes, sir.
Do different colors or different varieties of vegetables create different bacteria, or is it just all the same different bacteria?
Different phytonutrients, different bacteria, different everything. That's why I mean, eat for color. Make it pretty. Okay? I mean, the beta carotenes inside of the yams that you just ate converts to vitamin A, which detoxes your system. It goes directly to your lungs. That's good. Okay, does that make sense? I mean, this gal here, it's hard to see this, but that's a very crooked spine. Her nervous system was compromised. She was given drugs for pain. I mean, we just had a patient in here who had inflammation of his colon. Inflammation. So did the doctor say, oh my goodness, you have to replace the healthy bacteria in your colon in order to heal it? No. Or did he say, here's a steroid that's going to weaken your immune system and it's just like, these guys just don't get it. They keep focusing in on disease instead of focusing in on health. If you got an inflamed colon, that thing is starved for bacteria. And then they gave him an antibiotic. And I said, did they do a culture? No, they just gave it to me. So they gave him steroids and a poisonous mold or an antibiotic. And then they say, well, we have, you're going to have colitis, you're going to have ulcerative colitis for the rest of your life because there's no cure for it. Of course there's no cure for it. You're treating it with drugs instead of treating it with healthy bacteria. I mean, this gal here, 9 different medications, cured within 90 days. How long does it take to heal ulcerative colitis? About 30 days. How long does it take to reverse diabetes type 2? About 30 days. How long does it take to heal high blood pressure issues? It takes around 2 weeks to 30 days. And you'll see this consistently because you're replacing the normal flora. Does that make more sense?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Do the lids on the canning jars have to be new?
No, you'll see the lids are good for if you're canning them. This one's all dented, so I don't think I'm going to be able to use this for another time. Okay, but I've used it like 3 times already, so now it's like no good. And a box of about 10 lids costs around $2.
Why do they wear out? What's wrong?
Because there's so much pressure that builds up inside. So this is essential. When we talk about this, and we talk about nerve supply because it controls your immune system. We talk about exercise because it detoxes your system. This is the vital part of nutrition. This is the vital part of immune system. 80% of your bacteria in your gut has to be healthy. If it's unhealthy bacteria, you're going to die early. You're going to develop disease. If it's healthy bacteria, so how often do you want to replenish the bacteria? Every day. So you make a choice. When you go out to a restaurant, you choose that meal that doesn't have cooked vegetables. Okay, that has raw organic salad.
Raw vegetables have bacteria in them too?
Anything raw is going to have healthy bacteria. If it's raw and organic, it's going to have good bacteria.
Well, what about Crohn's disease? That can be cured with good bacteria?
It's interesting about Crohn's disease. Crohn's disease is inflammation of the colon that's chronic. If you get on WebMD, they say it's incurable. If you get on the natural health websites, they say it's curable within about 30 days. What do the medical doctors do? Antibiotics and steroids. What do the natural sites do? Replace the normal gut flora, get the healthy bacteria in there, and the body heals itself.
Even if it's inflamed.
Even if inflammation is how the body heals itself. It's vital. So, I mean, this is part of the coupon that's inside of your jar. Everybody here tonight gets a home fermenting kit. It's a jar. Okay, and it's got the website on it. My son is like fantastic at editing this. So he's going to, it'll probably be on the net by tomorrow. You just had cauliflower.
That's Thursday. I don't know. We don't have a Tuesday for April. Right.
Okay. Oh.
Is it better?
Oh, next Tuesday?
What did you put that?
Okay.
What did you put that hot?
Now, next Tuesday, we're going to talk about enzymes, digestion, and lung health, how you can breathe disease away. So it's going to be vital. Okay? Yes, ma'am.
If you cut like half the cabbage and you only use half, can you save the other half? Like you can't put it in your fridge? Or
Yeah, you could do anything you want with it. You could save it, put it in the fridge, you could fry it up, cook it up, you can cut it until you get another jar.
That same as soon as you cut it?
No. The way normal, this would work if I was more efficient and more patient. You cut it up, you let it sit you salt it, you let it sit for a day. And the water inside would actually leach out into it. And then you pack it in the jars. But for me, I generally don't have a lot of time. So I get home, I cut it up, I got to have it jarred so I can, water the gardens, get the dog fed,
Well, is it any more nutritious by letting it sit a day like that?
No, it's the same. It's the same. It just makes it easier. And well, first off, I'm going to answer questions in just a moment, but since we're filming, because they can't really hear the questions, next week, and well, first off, I got to thank everybody for making it here, because it takes such an effort to come here, to learn about nutrition, to learn about diet, to learn about health, because you really can't trust the television. So thank you.
And then on your way out,